What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our two latest book releases, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? Visit our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copies today. Welcome to NFL Game Plan. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you our Week 5 preview between the Chicago Bears and the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to be joined by our Football Game Plan analysts, Teron Davenport, Gene Clements, and also Chris James. So let's start this video off by taking a look at my keys to victory. For Chicago in this ballgame, I think their third down defense is going to be huge. They have to find ways to get off the field. Kansas City does have the ability to chew up the TOP. You get these guys off the field, you put them in second and long, third and long situations, and that's going to frustrate Alex Smith. So I think their third down defense will be huge in the outcome of this ball game. And then you have to stay gap disciplined versus a guy like Jamal Charles, who does a great job in finding that cutback lane and finding where you just vacated and breaking a long run. So if you stay gap disciplined, it gives you an opportunity to slow down the ground game of Kansas City, and you have to create those opportunities for Eddie Royal. I think he's one of the more dynamic players on this offense for Chicago. Find ways to get him the football and frustrate that Chiefs defense. For Kansas City in this ball game, I believe defensively it's about zone blitzing Jay Cutler. He's a see-it-through it type of a passer that trusts his arm more often than not, and I think by zone blitzing him, you can influence bad decisions and come away with a turnover or two. And offensively, I think they have to get James O'Shaughnessy, the rookie tight end, more involved in the offense. Getting him involved early, I think, will be better because that's just going to open things up for Travis Kelce on the outside. Now you have two threats if you're a defense that you have to worry about, and if you have one good tight end, you're a problem, but if you have two, you're even more dangerous. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs do have two good tight ends at their disposal. And the biggest matchup they're going to have to win defensively, I think, is up front. Their nose tackle Dontari Poe versus Matt Slauson or the rookie Haranis Grasu out of Oregon. I think whoever is going to be the starting center for Chicago, Poe has to win that battle throughout the course of the ball game in order for the Chiefs defense as a whole to have success. I thought Jay Cutler played well last week versus the Oakland Raiders, and this game versus Kansas City, he's going to see even more pressure from that Chiefs defense, and I'm going to show you how they can maximize their personnel with double tight end sets and also utilizing a bunch formation to create opportunities in the passing game against this aggressive KC defense. Now, what we have drawn up here is trips to the right, but we have a tight end on the close side. So what that does is either going to keep the safety over here or keep a corner over here, or if they want to get creative by putting both safeties on this side and use the corners to cover the front side. But the thing that's different about this formation is that you have two tight ends, Martellus Bennett and maybe Zach Miller here on the back side. So what this does, it keeps Kansas City in their base personnel, because essentially this is still a run formation because you have two tight ends, you have your 5 offensive linemen, you have your 1 back in the backfield and Forte. But what we're trying to do is get Martellus Bennett isolated on one of these corners of safeties running down the rail. And we're going to draw confusion up in here with Eddie Royal and Marcus Wilson, or even if Alshon Jeffrey is going to be healthy. But this is what we're trying to do. Backside, we're going to stem this guy up, fake the corner, and not really bend it toward the goalpost, but bend it toward, let's say, splitting the goalpost and the pylon. So he's going to try to widen it a little bit more, trying to pull this safety and keep this corner away from the front side where we want to go, because we're running a small little play action fake here. Nice little waggle. He's going to settle right on the outside lane of that offensive tackle so he can set up and throw the football. Now what we're doing front side, we're going to have Marcus Wilson run up and run a hang route. We call this a hang route because he's hanging over the middle of the field. He's going to hang right over this tackle and just sit here. Now if his man, he's going to sit. If his zone, he'll slowly work his way across and find the open spot. And Jay Cutler definitely has enough arm to make that throw. But what we're really doing, we want to get the ball to either Martellus Bennett or Eddie Royal. And we're going to bring Eddie Royal across, showing as if he's going across the formation on the drag. You know, he has the speed and people will follow him quickly, and he's whipping it right back out to the flat, giving Jay Cutler the first read. Now Martellus Bennett is going to run what we call the rail. Hopefully he gets a slow hanging safety that's caught in looking at this play action, and now that allows Bennett to get a half a step and get down the sideline. Then we make that throw deep down the field right here. So what you want to do for Jay Cutler, he has the arm, so you want to read touchdown to check down. And those are his options, 1, 2, 3. And this is an easy enough read to where he can make this throw and protect the football. I like Eddie Royo on this matchup, whipping back out to the outside. I like Martellus Bennett running down the rail if this safety got caught peeking in the backfield. So this is one way I think Chicago can have some success versus an over-aggressive defense of Kansas City. Opening up the Chiefs playbook, I think they have to do a better job this week in beating offensive linemen to the spot in the running game. You see right here versus Cincinnati, the two offensive linemen on the right side had no interest in getting to the left side of that formation in a hurry, but they still were able to beat Kansas City to the spot, get to the second level, and that was a 4 or 5 yard gain. And in the following play, it was a touchdown. But they have to do a great job this week, I think, versus Chicago. Otherwise, they could suffer the same fate. You see right here on the second play, all he did was flip-flop the play, came from the left, coming back to the right side, and this one was wide open as well, and this time it ended up being a touchdown. So again, it's about pulling offensive linemen to the spot, and if Kansas City with their aggressive front seven can do this, can they set the edge? Can those defensive linemen beat one-on-one blocks and force those guys to belly back even more so, and don't allow them to get to the edge or to the second level? It can help them make Chicago one-dimensional and ultimately win the game.
Now we have the Bears at the Chiefs. This game has the potential to be a shootout. Both of these defenses are struggling. My X factor for the Bears is Jay Cutler. He's back in the lineup, and the Bears actually put up some points last week against the Raiders, and they were able to register themselves a win. Cutler is one of those quarterbacks that has the gift and the curse. You know, he tries to make those throws that he shouldn't, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. So when you have a gunslinger at quarterback like Cutler, you live and die by him. He's the X factor for the Bears. My X factor for the Chiefs is that pass rush, specifically Justin Houston. He has 3 sacks on the year. The Bears have given up 9 sacks so far in 4 games. So he's going to have to find a way to get to the quarterback and get him sacked. That's something that they have to do. And as I said, Jay Cutler is one of those quarterbacks that will make the bad decision, and that is one way that the Chiefs can go ahead and win this game. They're hosting the Bears. I have them winning a shootout, 35-31, Kansas City Chiefs.
If I'm coaching the Chicago Bears, I have to hope that I can get consistent play from my quarterback, Jay Cutler. In order to do that, I want to continue to feature the run game. Let Jay Cutler operate out of a play-action situation and then get the ball to Martellus Bennett, because I believe he is one of the keys to a balanced offense for the Bears. For Kansas City, I'm talking to Alex Smith and I'm telling him, you have to be more courageous. You have to have an ability to take shots down the field, even if you think those balls have a chance of getting intercepted. Allow your wide receivers to make plays for you. If you do it, then we can open everything up and allow Jamal Charles to be one of the best backs in the NFL. Although I like what the Bears were able to do last week, I think that Kansas City will be able to get them this week. I like the game to be 24-14.
Chicago Bears pulled off a big victory against the Raiders last week, and they traveled to another AFC West opponent, playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Now for Kansas City, the home start, I'm going to go Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is the guy, whether it's on the ground, through the air in the short passing game. We know that Alex Smith likes to check it down. As far as a sit, I'm going to sit Alex Smith. Until he figures out what he wants to do as a quarterback, we can't trust him on a weekly basis. A start for the Bears is a guy who consistently has outperformed every tight end not named Rob Gronkowski this year, and that seems to be Martellus Bennett. He shows up week in and week out and gets the job done no matter who's under center. As far as a sit, I'm actually going to sit Matt Forte. I think that this will be a game where they try to exploit the outside now that Jay Cutler's back and take care of a weak secondary for the Kansas City Chiefs. The sleeper here would be the Chiefs special teams if you need one. Their defense special teams. They might be able to get you some sacks, also return yards with DeAnthony Thomas back there. The final score in this one, I'm going to go with a little bit of a surprise here as well. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears 27-23.
I like the Bears in this ball game. I think defensively what you'll see this week from Chicago is an even more aggressive front seven because they know Alex Smith will hold the football entirely too long. So I think their defense and their running game with Matt Forte will be the biggest reason why they knock off Kansas City. So as we recap our picks, you can see Teron and Gene are going with Kansas City. Chris and I are going with Chicago. And I think this is a pivotal game for both teams, which is probably why we're split. This is an even matchup, I believe. I think will be a great game this week in the NFL. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Bear fan forums and Chief fan forums for always showing football game plan support.